Hey boss, and welcome to the Media Magnet Workshop. I'm going to show you how to get on podcasts, TV, and online media in this training. I'm so happy to have you here, and congrats on taking the time to invest in growing your brand and your business even further by diving into this training. And don't worry, I will have some action steps for you at the end of the training so you can dive in and get started on getting media for your business and brand as soon as possible. So why does publicity matter to your business? Well, there's obviously a lot of reasons, and you know it matters, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But I wanted to break down some of the top reasons why press and publicity makes a huge difference as an entrepreneur. So you have an important message to share. You know you do. You just need to be heard. And getting publicity helps you get heard by a new and broader audience. Your clients and customers and your community online think you're awesome. They think you're the greatest thing ever, but the rest of the world doesn't quite know it yet. Yet being the operative word. So what press and publicity does is obviously gives you more exposure to new people who can discover your greatness. And you're hitting a plateau in your business, and maybe you need publicity to give you a push to new eyeballs. I can tell you that when you feel like you're just sort of coasting along, and yes, things are going okay, things are going well, but you feel like you're not able to reach a new audience, publicity and press will give you the push that you need. And obviously, we all know that credibility and proof and expert status are proven to a certain extent through media. It's validation that you are an expert, really, if you do get featured in any kind of press in your industry. To put this in really easy terms, would you want to work with the chef who just cooks at home by themselves and makes a couple YouTube videos? Or would you want to work with the chef who just got featured in O Magazine? That's a drastic example, but even being featured in smaller media within your niche is going to give you that extra boost of credibility, proof that you know what you're talking about and that you are indeed an expert. And of course, people want to work with experts. So the more media you get, the more eyeballs you get, the more credibility and proof that you are an expert, which is going to bring you more customers for your business. All right. So let's dive into how I know this, because it seems like I know what I'm talking about, right? Well, the reason is I have been very fortunate that in the last year, I've had some incredible press opportunities come my way. And this has all happened organically using the methods that I'm going to show you today. So I was featured as one of the 20 must-watch YouTube channels that will change your business in Forbes, and that very unflattering screenshot right there is actually me opening the article with a video. And other people featured in this article were Tony Robbins and Marie Forleo and Gary Vaynerchuk and all these people I really look up to. And I was really lucky to open the article and be a featured part of the article in Forbes. This was a huge, huge opportunity and brought a ton of new clients my way. I was also featured as one of the 50 must-follow women entrepreneurs in 2017 in the Huffington Post. And I was on the Social Media Examiner podcast, which is a big opportunity in my space, my industry, talking about how to grow business using YouTube. Good asked me to be a featured expert on the topic of sexual harassment online. And I did a complete beginner's guide to video marketing for Buffer on their podcast. And over the years, I've had tons of opportunities in television, which have brought on tons of new leads and potential customers and lots of exposure for my business, as well as that expert status. So how did all of these things happen, and how do I know what I'm talking about? Well, I also started my career as a member of the press. So if you didn't know, I actually was a journalist before I started my business. So I've been on both sides of the fence. I have been a member of the press, member of the media, getting pitched by people all day long on why they should be on my show or why I should interview them. And I've also been on the other side of it doing the pitching for myself and also for clients in the past. So I really do know both sides of how this works, and it's given me an extra advantage in getting quality press opportunities. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So how do you get press? First and foremost, you have to have confidence. And the way you have confidence is you need to set yourself up to be seen. You may think this is trivial, but this is so vital. The second step is content. You have to position yourself as the star in your industry. Number 3 is connect. You got to know the right people. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't, that's okay. I'm going to show you how to connect with the right individuals in your space to get the media opportunities that you need. And number 4 is care and create. You got to look for opportunities and stop waiting for opportunities to find you. And number 5 is commit. Start building your network of media, and that's where your action step comes in. So we will get to that towards the end. So we're going to go through this list one by one to make sure that you totally understand how you get press. All right, so remember, you do not need to pay to get press. It's really important to understand that this doesn't mean you have to go hire a PR firm, which can be pretty pricey, or you have to pay for press because, again, if you're just starting out in your business, it can be a very pricey endeavor. One day, sure, hiring a PR company is a great decision, but for right now, you can do this on your own, and I've been able to do it on my own. So, confidence. Are you set up to be seen? What does that mean? First and foremost, your social platforms. Are your banners, your bio, and your contact information aligned with how you want to position yourself? You need to, immediately after this training, go to all of your social platforms and ensure they have the right information in them. It tells people what you do, what you're an expert at, and it gives them some way to contact you directly. Does your online presence represent your expertise? It should. Your online presence is basically a business card to anybody who wants to potentially feature you. So you need to make sure that everything about it is aligned with how you want to be seen. So you are in charge of that. You are in charge of your brand identity. So you need to make sure it's set up for you to be seen in the right way as an expert in your industry. So as far as your online presence outside of social media, you need to make sure your website and all of your photos are professional. And a quick little bonus tip, if you haven't done a professional photo shoot before and you don't have professional photos for your online presence, for your website and your social platforms, this is a really great and smart investment. And if you're just starting out, you can always do a trade of services with a local photographer. Tell them that you'll give them extra exposure, you'll send them referrals, or if you're working in the marketing space, tell them that you can do a little bit of marketing work for them or web development for them, whatever you could trade services with them for. It's a great way to get some professional photos done, and it'll only take you about an hour of your time to get those done. The next part is your content, which we're going to dive into deep next, but your content is really, really vital to both being seen, but also being discovered as an expert in your industry. So let's move into content. Content truly does position you as the star of your industry. So what you need to do is keep your content focused on your niche. If you are a chef, I keep going back to that example, but if you're a chef, you don't want to talk about cats or skateboarding or whatever else it may be. Keep your content focused on your niche because that's how the right audience and the right press and media will be able to discover you and find you, and how you will grow your targeted audience a lot faster. And if you're thinking, okay, well, I'm not sure exactly how to just stay focused on my one niche, it seems like I'm going to run out of content ideas. If you feel like that might be the case, use the 6 degrees of separation strategy. So for me, on all of my social platforms, I talk about social media. That's when I first started talking about, because that's really my business is about. I teach people how to use social media and video to grow their businesses and their brands. But the 6 degrees of separation strategy is applied in my business because my content also talks about entrepreneurship, technology and tools that I use in my business, mindset. There are a bunch of other things that I talk about in my content on social that don't have anything to do directly with social media or video, but they're 6 degrees of separation away from it. So think about how you can create 6 degrees of separation with different content tiers outside of just your one focused business niche. And you also want to pay attention to what kind of content is getting the highest engagement in your industry. So, one quick tip is to focus on other pages or platforms in your industry, so other influencers in your industry or like-minded businesses with a similar target audience. Go to their Facebook page, go to their YouTube channel. Which pieces of content are getting the most likes, comments, and shares? That is proof to you that that kind of content will resonate with your audience. So it would be a good idea for you not to don't copy their content, but find a different way to present that same kind of content to your audience. So a prime example of this, I create content every single day on all my social platforms, and you never know who might find you through creating the right kind of content. So I was checking my inbox one day, and it's the inbox that I don't even check regularly because it comes through my website. And so I sat down to check it and open it up, and all of a sudden I had a message from Mastin Kipp. If you don't know who Mastin Kipp is, he is a self-help guru, and he's been on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday. And I remember watching his episode of Super Soul Sunday 5 years ago and thinking, oh my gosh, this guy is amazing. One day I would love to chat with him, thinking it was so out of reach. The next thing you know, I have a message from Mastin Kipp in my inbox, and he invited me to be on his podcast, and he found me through my content online. So creating the right kind of content will position you as the star of your industry, and you never know who's watching. So make sure your content is a direct reflection of your expertise and what you want to portray. So connect, know the right people. And again, I know you're probably thinking, I don't know anyone right now. I don't know any media or press. That's okay. When I say know the right people, I'm talking about tweeting your way to the top. That might sound weird to you, and you can use other platforms, but for me, Twitter has been the best way to create media relationships. It's better to reach out to one person instead of a whole publication, and I wanted to show you a really quick example of this. So if I go to Twitter and I look at Forbes, so this is Forbes' Twitter page. What you want to do is go to the More section, click on Lists, and you will see that Forbes staff is all listed in their lists. So you can go to Members and find every single staff member who's on Twitter for Forbes. This way, you can go through and follow the people who directly focus on your niche and space and start building a relationship with them. So this is Forbes, but basically every publication out there has a list like this on Twitter that features their staff because they're looking for stories. So it's a great way to connect with media in your space. That's a really quick tip that will go a long way. All right, so you can tweet your way to the top. And again, don't try and reach out to Forbes. Reach out to a writer at Forbes or whatever the big piece is in your industry or big publication is in your industry. Another prime example of this is one of our clients is an author. He's a former Disney executive, and he created a book called Suitcase of Happiness. His name is Mark Jaffe. The book is incredible. And he hired my team to basically build his social platforms for the book launch. The great thing was we also got the opportunity to play in the PR arena and kind of do a little bit of overlap. And just by creating a bigger following on Twitter and a targeted following on Twitter and reaching out to the right people and connecting with the right people and doing the exact same thing I just showed you, which was going to Inc., going to their writers and connecting with a few of their writers, one of their writers reached out to Mark, our client, via Twitter direct message and say, hey, I'd love to feature you in Inc. So he got a full article in Inc. for free and a video feature in Inc. as well. So it works, you guys. It works to connect with the right people. All right, so tweet your way to the top. It's better to reach out to one person instead of a whole publication. And here's the difference between passive versus active outreach, because I am definitely not a proponent of finding someone online and immediately asking them for a favor. It doesn't work in real life, so it's not going to work online. What I recommend doing is starting with passive outreach. What this means is, say you find a writer you want to connect with for a big publication. Follow them first. Follow them and just support them. Retweet their content, ask them questions, start building a dialogue and a relationship. And eventually you go in for the active outreach, which is you go in for the ask. Once you built a bit of a relationship, you've supported them, you've provided value for them, then go in for the ask and say, hey, I'm writing this book, or I have this piece of content coming out. I would love to talk to you about how it would benefit your readers. Could we have a chat? That way you have a relationship and it's not so abrasive or aggressive to ask for that. So here's a prime example of how we reach out to people. So when we were working with Mark Jaffe, this is how we set up his outreach emails. So we always started with a really kind opening line and some kind of a compliment that was specific to the person we reached out to. So you might be thinking, oh man, this sounds like it's going to take a long time. It does and it doesn't. The same template is used for everyone you reach out to, but you do want to personalize it to each person you reach out to. And as somebody who used to work in media, there's nothing worse than getting a generic email asking for a favor. You immediately get deleted if you do that. So you want to personalize it as much as possible. Then you go in with the ask because people don't have a lot of time and they don't want to read. So you want to go in with the ask. So what do you want? You want to let them know who you're working with and what the offer is and how it's valuable and what you're going to do. So in this case, we were going to send a copy of the book to these press members, and we specifically ask for a review or to share your thoughts on social media so we know what we'll be getting out of it. Then we give them more information and more credibility with the Inc. magazine feature and the website. Then you can also provide the social handles so it's easy for them to see where they need to tag if they're going to talk about it on social. Let them know that you want to know if they're interested so you can send them the copy. And an even greater thing to do is give them a deadline. So give them a deadline of when you want a response by. That way they know they need to respond. So this, you can screenshot this and use this as a template for your outreach to people as well. So another thing that I want to talk about, the next step, is caring and creating. So instead of waiting for opportunities to find you, you got to look for these opportunities. So if there's somebody out there right now that you're like, man, I would love to get on their podcast or be featured in their magazine or whatever it may be, look for opportunities. So prime example of this is I had the opportunity to, I seized the opportunity to reach out to Amy Porterfield. She's someone I admire so much in this space. I think she's so wonderful and authentic and has built a really incredible business that's super helpful to so many entrepreneurs. I love her podcast. I listen to it all the time. So I sent her an email because in one of her podcast episodes, she mentioned that she really didn't like video. Video is one of her biggest challenges, and I was kind of shocked by that because she's so good on webinars and everything else. But I said, hey, that's an opportunity for me to say, if you ever need anything, I'd be happy to help you. I also mentioned I'd be at Social Media Marketing World, which I knew she was speaking at. And I just said, if you ever need some advice or tips in video, I'd be happy to help. I did get a response seconds later from her team, and they said that she was going to be at Social Media Marketing World. And that gave me an opportunity to say, hey, that would be a perfect time and opportunity to see her in real life, connect, and provide her with some advice. So just know that nobody is out of reach. And if you hear something from someone that you potentially want to be featured by that you could help them with, or you see something or just do an audit of what they're doing and say, hey, I know I can do this better for them or I can help them do this better, offer up that free advice and that input, and it's always appreciated. Also with Lewis Howes. Lewis Howes is an incredible podcaster. He has the School of Greatness. He's got a book out. And I've been an avid follower of his for years. And I listen to his podcast. I share his content. I'm always listening. And I just think he's really good at what he does. And so when the opportunity came that he was going to be in Vancouver, I seized it. And I asked him if I could sit down and talk about his book on my YouTube channel. And he was gracious enough to sit down for an interview. And we built a really great relationship out of that. And he's a wonderful, wonderful guy, super generous. And it was a great interview that provided a ton of value to my community and was directly aligned with my community. So if you're going to look for opportunities, make sure that there's things that are aligned again with your niche. And just know that nobody is out of reach. And these opportunities are coming out of actually caring and knowing that these people are aligned with my niche and creating opportunities with and for them. Another example of this is Gary Vaynerchuk is someone I've followed for I don't even know how long, since the beginning. And this was years and years and years and years and years ago when Gary Vaynerchuk was doing something on Spreecast, and he was doing like a live stream, and I was listening to him, and I posted this Instagram photo. It's still on my Instagram page saying, oh my gosh, Gary Vaynerchuk just retweeted me. few years later, Gary Vaynerchuk asks me if maybe we can do a team up for an episode of this show I was hosting for Hootsuite. And then a few years after that, I actually had the opportunity to meet him in real life. And this is such a full circle moment, and again, just proves nothing and nobody is out of reach. If there's someone that you want to meet, if there's someone you want to build a relationship with that you think could be helpful for you and for them and for your businesses, they're not out of reach. So this was a really great opportunity to just say thank you and to just let him know how much he's influenced my business and to finally meet him in real life. So how to show you care and add value. Be their cheerleader. If there are influencers or press in your space that you want to connect with, be their cheerleader. Like I said with Lewis Howes, I always retweet his content. I'm always helping promote his stuff because I do want to genuinely be his biggest fan, his biggest cheerleader, because I know that at least gets me on his radar. And that's the same for a lot of other people in the space. Ask for their expertise. Experts like to share their expertise. They're passionate about it. So to start a conversation, ask for a quick tip. Don't ask for anything in depth, but ask for a quick tip on their expertise to start building a conversation and relationship. Show your gratitude. With Amy Porterfield, all I did was say, thank you so much for everything you provided. Same with Gary Vaynerchuk. Thank you so much for everything you provided for my business. If there's anything that I could ever do to help you, I would love to. So show gratitude. Everybody likes to hear thank you. Make their day easier. If there's something that you can do to provide value to them, do it and offer that service. And then send them customers and community. That's huge. Everybody's trying to build their business. So if there's someone in your space that you could help drive traffic their way to a launch or a promotion that they're doing, do that because it never goes unnoticed. So build their community through your community. And then this is the final step, commit. Commit to building your network of media. So what I want you to do right after we get off of this training, who can help you achieve big reach in your industry? I want you to identify at least 10 people, publications or individuals, who can help you achieve big reach in your industry. And then I want you to identify and connect with one new influencer, journalist, or blogger out of that list per week for the next 10 weeks. That's 10 new people you could potentially connect with. And if you don't hear back from everybody, start a little smaller. And don't get discouraged because sometimes it takes building a relationship and trying and supporting and showing gratitude and adding value before you do get on someone's radar. And finally, create a private list of these people in Twitter and on all your social platforms. You should just have a list or Excel spreadsheet of these people so you know you can continue to keep building those relationships with them and constantly supporting them to get on their radar. Bonus boss tips. Go the extra mile. So with that Forbes article that I showed you, how I actually got the video feature at the very top of that article was this person reached out, the writer reached out and said, hey, I'm doing this article. Here's what I need, and I'm hoping you can do a video. So I'm assuming that he asked everyone to do a video, but I was actually the only person who did it, which is why I got the top feature of that article on Forbes. So whenever you can, go the extra mile. Don't just write something, create video content. The more content, the better. And don't wait to be asked. Look for opportunities. Do your homework before attending events and conferences because I guarantee you there will be people at any event or conference in your space that you will want to connect with and that could potentially help you land press opportunities. And think about how you can best benefit their audience. So what kind of value can you bring to their audience? That's where you want to start your pitch. And is it visual or audio or a text platform that you're going to be featured on? Whatever it may be, cater your content around either visual, audio, or text. All right, email me at s@sunnyleonarduzzi.com with your media wins. I am so excited to see you guys soar and see your wins, boss, with your media opportunities, following all these steps. And remember to take action ASAP because that's the only way you're going to get results. So email me again at s@sunnyleonarduzzi.com with your media wins, boss, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you online.